Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Hello there, welcome along. This is Business Connections Live, the program for entrepreneurs, SMEs and business owners, and it's great to have your company today on this Monday, the 3rd of August. Lovely to know that you're out there. We live in interesting times, as we say, each and every week. The news, of course, goes up and down. Seems that we've got more lockdown in the north of the country at the moment. Will it be coming to the south of the country? Who knows? But we live in a crisis. And how is that affecting you and your business at the moment? And if this wasn't going on, would you have a big plan about getting away from corporate life? Do you have Plan B? Got a great guest, a real belter of a program today. Terrific guest on the show today. It is Emma Tarring. Emma, lovely to have you with us on the show today. Thank you very much for joining us. Emma, you've been on the show before.
Yes.
For those people that don't know who you are, you're from the Marketing Matrix. Who and what are the Marketing Matrix?
So, hi, Steve. It's lovely to be here, but a bit weird not to be in your lovely studio. So the Marketing Matrix, we're a marketing consultancy, business-to-business marketing consultancy based in Walton-on-Thames, right on the river. As you know, we have a lovely riverside spot there. And we love helping consultancy businesses to grow. Basically, we like helping people start up businesses. And then if they've got them going, then we like helping them to grow by using really effective marketing to reach the right audience so that selling to your audience becomes so easy because you know who they are, you know what they need, and you know how you're going to help them. So we've been doing that for 8 years now.
Crikey, and it is a lovely place where your offices are, right by the River Thames, by Walton Bridge, with a marina outside. It all sounds very flash, actually. And now you've got a coffee shop downstairs as well. You're literally just down the road from us, and I've walked that towpath many a time.
Yes.
Emma, what have you seen as far as businesses are concerned? Is there a change, do you think, in the way people are approaching business? Are they taking their foot off the accelerator and kind of coasting through this? Or do you see some businesses who are actually putting their pedal to the metal and actually accelerating their marketing?
Yeah, I think we've probably seen more of the latter. Certainly there's a mix, and it depends on what sector you're in as to how huge the impact has been. We've got clients who've got businesses that have benefited from the pandemic. And then we've got others who've been, quite seriously hurt by it. So it does vary enormously. I think the thing that's consistent is small business owners seem to be the ones we're talking to. They are up for getting out there. So whether that's pivoting their business a bit to do more online services, offer different types of things, to get over what they can't do now. Or whether that's just going harder, deepening relationships, taking that time when it's not appropriate to sell at people, to really get to know them better and think about how you're presenting your business to the world. So it's been quite a roller coaster, like many businesses, but some really exciting things we've had going on over the last few months with some of our clients.
I mean, we're going to be talking about leaving corporate life and moving on and what you can do with the skills that you have. And I remember once hearing a statistic that 42,000, this was before COVID hit, but 42,000 people enter the speaking market each and every year. And then the rider on that was 42,000 people in London entered the speaker market. And I'm just wondering, are we going to be in a similar situation where there's just going to be a huge influx of people who are trying to start their own individual businesses, and they're going to try and grow their businesses, but it's going to be a tough time because so many other people are going to be doing it as well?
Yes, I mean, and there is competition. I think lots of people have had a kind of epiphany of I've now had a few months where I haven't got on the train every morning and sat at the same desks and so on. And this is what I want the future of my life to look like, because guess what? I get to see my kids or go for a run or cycle or walk on the towpath, whatever it is you love doing. So they're wanting to do that. But I think the whole point, there's enough business for everybody, isn't there, really? It's just a case of finding the bit that's right for you, and finding your niche. And that's a lot of what we do with people who are starting out, the corporate escape artists, we call them. Is, you can make a sweeping statement like, I want to go into consultancy, but it's actually niching that down and finding the one that's right for you, where there are enough people. And most sole traders or very small businesses don't need thousands of clients. They need a handful of the right clients, the ones that they're going to have really good, long-lasting relationships with.
Does it come as a shock, do you think, to some people when they do actually start looking at the niche they're in and niching it down, that they start to realise actually that what they thought was an integral, important part of the organisation or the business that they work for, actually they really can't put their finger on what the necessary skills are that they have?
Yeah, some people do struggle with that, and they know they want to market their own skills, but defining those. I mean, a very typical conversation is someone will come with us. They're having this idea. They've had this kind of moment of, that's it. I'm coming out of corporate life for whatever reason. And the conversation with us very often starts is, I need a new website because I'm going to be starting this company. The first thing I need is a website. And we sort of turn that on its head and say, you will need a website in due course, but what you need first is to understand what you're offering the market, what your proposition is, and who you can most help. And once we've got all that defined, then of course we can help you, and we can build your beautiful website, that'll help your business grow. So it's spending the time, and it takes a lot longer than people think. We've had people come to us and going, I'm starting my business in 6 weeks, but they haven't really defined that business, what they're going to be doing, and that takes some quite deep soul searching, actually, and research and testing, all those good marketing things that we do.
Are there other times where you tell people, I mean, obviously what we're saying to them here is identify what your vision is that you do actually want to do. Are there times you have to turn around to somebody and say, do you know what? I don't think there's a market for that. And of course, that's a big statement to make to somebody. And then they go, maybe you're approaching this not in the right particular way at the moment. Are there times you find yourself saying that?
I hope we won't be as negative as that. I mean, our business is to offer ideas. It's to offer experience from, being out there all this time and having helped a lot of people to start different businesses and supported businesses that have been running for decades in some cases. So, we've had a lot of experience of looking under the bonnet of those types of businesses. So I think we know, we do know what good looks like. But if someone came and they said, my passion is, bonsai tree growing or whatever, bad example because it's not a consultancy. But, we wouldn't say, oh, there's no market for that. We'd help them to explore that and actually to assess whether that is a viable market. The words that always give me the biggest wobbles are when people say, I don't think there's anyone else doing this. And you kind of go, ooh, there might be a reason for that.
Yes.
Whereas if there's you can see a few people already up and running in the market you want to address, you've got to then find your differentiator from them. You can't just be a me too, I'll do what Frida's doing. But at least it shows there's a proven market and it's likely to be viable.
You've got this other thing as well where everybody wants to do the same thing as well, isn't it? Everybody wants to do leadership consultancy and all those kind of soft skill kind of things. Yeah. The other thing that I see a lot of is how to create video, and some of the advice that is given by people who really do not know what they are talking about. And the trouble is that they are creating myths around the kind of things that they say, and what they're saying is wrong. And in fact, I'm beginning to see this a lot on LinkedIn where people share half truths. They don't really truly have the knowledge on some of the media, the different social media platforms, but yet because it's now in print, it becomes a reality. Is that a bit of an issue as well sometimes?
I perhaps we've been incredibly fortunate, or perhaps that our marketing is targeted, and we're attracting people where they're not unrealistic. They do know the area they want to be in, and actually it's been very broad, or that we continue to attract people from a lot of different sectors and with very different backgrounds. And sometimes it's people wanting to change. They want to use their core soft skills to do something quite different. But other times it's the knowledge and the industry they know, and they want to leverage that to actually do their own thing. But I can honestly say I've not had a lot of conversations with people who don't know what the hell they're doing or who are giving bad advice.
Well, I tell you what, if you've got a question this afternoon for Emma, then please, or maybe you've been through the process yourself, and you're thinking to yourself, I really want to grow my business, and I'd like a little bit of additional advice this afternoon. Or if you just want a name check, we'll say very good afternoon right now to Deepak. Known him for many years. Deepak, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. If you have a question for Emma, then please get in touch. Linda Bazant is watching remotely from another location. She says, hi, Emma. Do you find that the consequences of COVID-19 have opened up new business opportunities that weren't there before? Great question. Thank you, Lynn. What do you think, Emma? Have they opened up new doors?
Yes, definitely. And I think, this is a great example. I think we've all become a lot more comfortable that working remotely by Zoom or Skype or whatever it is isn't necessarily second best. If you can meet face to face, when it's appropriate and safe to do so, that's lovely. Nothing will ever beat meeting somebody. But if you're working with someone over the long term, to actually mix that in suddenly means you can spread your net a lot wider. We've always focused on Surrey and southwest London. We've now got clients coming from slightly further afield, still where they can get to us, because they're doing a mix of visits and remote calls and so on. So I think I was talking to a photographer just this morning, and she was, she'd been filling a gap by doing courses to help people who've been furloughed or who were quiet during the thing to learn how to do good photography just with their iPhone. So I think people are being very creative about how they do that, how they pivot their business. Or we call it pirouette, because I think we're all a bit sick of the pivot word. How do you gracefully pirouette to a slightly different area of the market now?
I do like that. The other one that gets everybody as well at the moment is also passionate as well. I am passionate and excited. I don't care. Is the whole thing. I do care, but there are times when people will share just a little bit too much of their.
You're passionate about your business, Steve. We know you are.
I am.
You live and breathe
yes, I am. All right then. All right. I consider myself beaten to a pulp. All right. One of the we always ask our guests to do some prep for us. How to avoid feeling that you need to buy into somebody else's business. And I read that, and I thought that's a really good question. But what do you mean by that? And how does it affect people who are out there at the moment thinking about what they're going to do in the future?
I've met there are absolutely cases for buying a franchise or buying into a structure in some cases. The cases that make me want to weep is when someone knows they've got perhaps redundancy coming down the road. They're going to have a little bit of money when they leave their corporate job. They're being very positive. They want to make the best of it. So the first thing they go out and they blow half of that redundancy money on buying a franchise or a multi-layer marketing business, something where you buy a territory or you buy a patch or something, or you have to buy lots of goods. And they spend all that money, and then they find actually part of what they're good at isn't selling. They're good at lots of other things, but selling isn't it, and hard selling and selling to your friends and your family and people you love, which is what you're expected to do in a lot of those things. And I think if they'd have put that same money into building their own business, it would have been so different. They would have had their own thing that could, would grow with them, that maybe they could sell one day. So many different things. Once it's yours, you can own it. If you need to adjust your brand as time goes on, you realise, you need to slightly change, as say, pirouette a little to deal with things that come along. You can do that. If you've bought into a thing and you're just in a box that isn't the right shape for you, I think there are cases where people have wasted, tens of thousands of pounds in some cases doing
I suppose
that.
what's happening is
Such
we're
tragedy.
all looking for that shortcut, aren't we? And would I be right in saying, do you think, that there is no shortcut out there? You've got to put the hours in. Regardless of whether you buy into a franchise or not, you've still got to build that customer base, and that actually is fundamentally where the issue is always going to be when you're trying to grow a business.
Yeah, and I was there aren't shortcuts, but what you can do is take advice from people who've walked the path before you and learn from mistakes and experiments that they've done. I don't always like the word mistake. It's like sometimes it's a learning, isn't it? We all try things and you think, okay, that wasn't quite right. Let's get back onto the path. But all of it is about once you've developed that vision of exactly where you're going and what you want your business to do and how you want it to help when it's a consultancy business, it's staying on that path. You might need to tack a little, to get there, but not wander off down side tracks, and definitely not wear somebody else's clothes effectively. If someone else's brand, have your own brand.
When people come to talk to you, are they looking effectively for a job that they run the business off, so that they're gainfully employed, so they're making a living, they're living what they earn, hand to mouth, or are they looking to grow a business? So I look at the marketing matrix, and I see the marketing matrix as an entity in its own right. And working for it, you've got a Neve, and you've got yourself, Emma, and it's very different from the one man band kind of setup, where you don't have that grandeur of scale. Do you see many people getting confused between those two?
Yes, sometimes, especially if they've been perhaps a long time in a day job, and they're expecting to be able to just switch that across. And that kind of shift in mindset is part of what we will help people with. And you do have to get into some uncomfortable things. If you're not a natural salesperson, you have got to learn how to sell in the way that's right for you. You've got to market your business effectively, and the idea is, if the marketing is good enough, the sales piece becomes not too icky, and you're not cold calling, you're not doing those horrible things that most of us don't like, other than really consummate sales professionals who I know you've had on your program before, and they thrive on that. But for the majority of us, that's not the place we like to be. We want to be having conversations with people that we know we can help and who we will enjoy working with, for a long term. That's the idea.
I suppose the thing is that for a lot of the people, that we feel we have something to offer, and we feel that if we're in a position where we can demonstrate what we have to offer, then it is to the advantage of the person we're talking to, and also to our own advantage, because then the reciprocal arrangement. But it is interesting that I suppose that is the biggest stumbling block for all of this, isn't it? Picking the phone up and having a clear proposition, understanding the pain of your client, and being able to promote what you do. I know if Antonio Falco was on right now, he'd be saying, well, that's a piece of cake for anybody. But, there's always this that goes on in people's heads. That for me, I find the most difficult part of business is that generating of new leads and new contacts.
Yes, absolutely. No, exactly. And that's, great example. Antonio's so confident, and he lives and breathes sales, and that's what he thrives on. But many of the people that we meet who are starting out don't have that huge confidence. They're very good at what they do. They have a confidence in their abilities, but that's not the same as being able to sell. So it's getting, in a way, it's getting that brand that you then have that extra confidence. You can put your shoulders back and you can step up and you go, this is my business. This isn't just me in my back bedroom. This is my business, and this is what we do, and here's my testimonials and all the proof that you need to show what you do.
Interesting, because the next point that we've got here is what you need to create a consultancy that works with and supports your lifestyle and family commitments. And I think for many people that are leaving a corporate lifestyle, it is very difficult for them to understand that what they're about to do, this escape plan, will become all-consuming, and they will probably find themselves working harder than they have ever worked before, and maybe not physically harder, but mentally they will be thinking about this. It'll be on their mind all the time.
Yeah, And that's why you need a great support network around you. You know, you need to build that when you're building your business, so that you've got those people. You know, mine is a long time now since I left corporate life, but when I no longer had a team in the office, I was very clear to build a network of people that I could either go, you know, oh, I'm really excited, can I come and celebrate something with you, or just pick the phone up and go, oh, the most awful thing has happened. You know, that you can share that journey with if you are on your own. You need that, but when it's your brand, that's bigger than those little bumps in the road that every business is likely to have. And
I don't know whether this is in the right order, what I'm about to ask you, but it's something that I've seen before in the past, is that many people, when they're working within a corporate environment, it is their name plus their organisation that they work for. And they get confused where they think it is their personality, it is their name that actually is opening the doors for them, when in fact it's the fact that they are Fred Bloggs from XYZ Limited. And it's once you take the XYZ Limited away from the end of their name, they actually then will sink away into obscurity. They will disappear off the business face of the world. Do you often see that, where people are convinced that the reason that the success that they have within the corporate world is purely them?
No, I think most people, by the time they get to us, they're quite realistic, actually. They know that their corporate opens doors, and actually will continue to do so, because if you've worked for a very good name and you've had a senior position there, that tells the world something about who you are. You achieved that position while you were in corporate life. So, you know, why would that change when you're outside? And you know, we all use the phrase "people do business with people," which is the truth. So, you know, when I left corporate life, my first client was someone I'd done business with as in my corporate world. That was the very first thing that I did, and that was quite common. A lot of people, their first contract might be their old employer, actually, because they're very good at what they did, but then they need to very quickly broaden that and start spreading that a bit wider. So I think yes, absolutely, your corporate badge is quite a thing that takes getting used to not having that, because you've sort of got to be you. But that's where a brand can help, of having a really strong brand and a really strong proposition.
Just explain that then. So are you saying then that, because a lot of people will come out and they'll become, you know, Steve Hyland leaves corporate world, so then Steve Hyland becomes Steve Hyland Limited or Steve Hyland Corporate. Do you remain you, or is it better Emma Tarring? She's not Emma Tarring, but she is the marketing matrix. Is it better to have that form of a corporate brand, so that you're nearly a third party? You're part of something that is perceived to be bigger. God, this is really interesting. It is. This is the psychology of business, isn't it?
And there isn't a yes/no answer. The majority, I would say, I'm trying to think. I think pretty much every one of our clients, we have developed a corporate entity because they have a goal that they either are going to want to bring people into that, they're going to want to work in associateship with other businesses, or they might even be thinking about they're going to build a business that they're going to sell at some point in the future. So therefore, taking it away from your personal name can be advantageous. However, there's always cases where if you are very well known for doing whatever it is you do, and you want to build more of a personal brand, then absolutely you want to keep your name in there. But that has limitations as well as advantages in it. And it does tend to be in that sort of that leadership and coaching area that you were talking about, that's where personal branding seems to be more prevalent. So there isn't a right wrong answer, but I would say the businesses that we do who offer professional services rather than just coaching on its own, it might have a coaching element in it, then they tend to have a brand name.
Do you have a checklist for people? Do you say to them, look, and when do they come to you? Do they come to you prior to them leaving the corporate environment, or is it afterwards when it's all too late and they've handed in their job and they've told them to go shove the job? Yeah. I'm going to go do it on my own. Is it a little bit too late then to be going down the checklist?
No, it's not. It's never too late. I mean, I'd been out of corporate for 15 years before I co-founded the Marketing Matrix, and I'm not saying it was too late. There was nothing wrong with that first phase, but if I'd have known then what I know now, I could have gone straight to creating a business, which I think I would have probably enjoyed more over those years. But hey ho, I don't regret anything.
Fundamentally, then, what was the two or three or the one big thing that when you created the Marketing Matrix with Eve, what was the thing that made you think, actually, if only I'd have done this sooner? What was that thing?
It's that being able to stand behind a brand and go, we stand for this, we do this, we offer these services, even if it is only you or if it's two of you, instead of it's little me and I do this, and it's much harder to sell then. So I think it does help. And if people start, if they're thinking at the thinking stage, it's so great to do that thinking while you're still getting your salary in, while your company's still paying to send you on training. You can start adjusting your public profile and so on to the business that you've got in mind for the future, while you're not having to do all that, what you were saying, the worrying about doing your own, working on your own business. You're doing it while you're employed, but start doing that thinking early on. That's ideal.
Is there a checklist? I mean, I kind of asked for it earlier on, and I'm not certain. Is there a checklist that you take people through? Is there I'm sure there's a process.
It's a process, exactly. It's a process more than a checklist. So we've got a proven marketing strategy, which is a 12-step framework, and we take people through that. So it's exactly the same framework we use for big companies turning over millions, and we use that with people who are just starting out, but obviously appropriate to them. But we do have an ebook that people can download. I think you're probably going to put the link on.
The link is going to be on the site after the program.
Yeah, so that's 5 steps to freedom. So that's the things you need to start thinking about before you've left the corporate job. Start doing it early thinking, and then give us a call is the ideal thing, and then find out where to go from there.
Other people, do you think, that have read the booklet or have thought or talked to you about this and they've actually decided that actually they're not suited for it? I've always felt there are two kinds of people. There are the people who can create a business out of thin air. They can work for themselves. They can market themselves. They are, the countless number who are on LinkedIn at the moment who are the trainers, the speakers, and the people like that. And then there are the others, and no disrespect to them, because they work just as hard, they're just as innovative as the others, but they like the comfort of working for an organization. They like the fact that the final responsibility for the salary comes in later. People used to say to me, how do you feel about being freelance? I don't, do you worry about the fact that you don't have that consistency of a large major employer behind you? Yeah,
no, absolutely. Sorry, got a dog in the background. Don't get that in the studio. I've lost my train of thought now, Steve.
Well, it was just kind of saying there are people that are workers and there are people that can work for themselves, and
I think anyone in a senior role in a corporate would say they're very, very hardworking indeed. So it just depends on how you want to work, and people sometimes want to work in different ways in different stages of their life as well.
All right. I'll tell you what, I'm sure the dog, if you can go settle the dog for a couple of seconds. My guest on today's show is Emma Tarring from the Marketing Matrix. Linda's come back with another question. Thank you so lot there, Lynn, for coming out. She says, some people still need the corporate machine behind them. And that's something that I know that Linda has seen on a regular basis, that people feel more comfortable in the corporate environment, the corporate machine, and really they feel very, very lonely when they're out there. They feel maybe overly exposed when they go out on their own. And what do you do? Do you coach them through that moment and give them advice? And do they ever go, do you know what?
Buckets of support.
Sorry?
And also give them buckets and buckets of support so they don't feel alone and they don't feel lonely, and you have got a team round you like you used to have in the corporate world. That's the whole point. We're quite, we're social animals, aren't we? We found that out more over the last few months than ever. So it's you need those people round you.
Still more to come from my guest on today's show, Emma Taring. It's lovely to have her with us on the program, and more from Emma in just a few seconds' time. Hope you're finding it interesting. Maybe you're in that position at the moment and you are thinking to yourself, you know what, maybe it is time for a change, time to move on. Maybe you've quite enjoyed working from home and you quite like the environment that you found yourself in. You've still got that safety net of corporate life. I remember when I left corporate life, there was one contract that I got that I would have to go and visit 2 or 3 days a month. And that for me was my corporate life for a while. It was a bit of a lifesaver for me. And maybe that's how you feel about it. Or maybe we are fooling. There's 2 dogs now. Aren't they lovely? We love those dogs. Listen, more from Emma in just a few moments' time. Let's go back a week. We had Sylvia Baldock on the programme last week. It was a cracking show. We were talking about your ongoing legacy. Now, I apologise. Isn't it wonderful? This week we've got absolutely beautiful quality across the internet. We can see every last hair on Emma's head. Last week we could barely see the nose and the face of Sylvia Baldock, but it wasn't about the looks. I tell you what, it was about the content, and it was really valuable. Sylvia Baldock from last week's edition of Business Connections Live.
So I'm Sylvia Baldock. You will find me on sylviabaldock.com. I am from Glasgow originally, but living in Buckinghamshire and work throughout the UK and some global work. And I'm all about bringing the best version of people to the fore so that you can live life to the full and actually live your legacy right now, instead of just looking forward to leaving a legacy. And what that means is that you are bringing the best version of you to every interaction. You're continually evolving and growing and taking on new knowledge and expertise that you can share with your clients, your colleagues, your prospects. You're investing in your health and well-being to be the best version of you, both in your work life and your personal life. And that you are in flow so that you know exactly where your natural strengths are, and you're spending 70 to 85% of your time fully in flow, doing the work you are put on this planet to do, where you make maximum impact on the people around you. I work with individuals, but more than that, I work with teams. So I run masterclasses for teams, I run team sessions, and I'm running a group program right now, which is having a dramatic effect. It's called Becoming More Significant. And you'll find the details on my website, which is sylviabaldock.com.
Good show last week on Business Connections Live, and if you had an opportunity or if you missed it, you can actually go along and you can check the entire program out by simply going to our website. And I hope you're enjoying today's program as well, for that matter. It's lovely to have your company with us today. Don't forget, if you want to get in contact with us, just simply drop us an email, the studio at businessconnectionslive.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer, though, and you'd like to talk to us, then 01784 256 777 is the telephone number to give us a call on. Or if you want, you can follow our stream of consciousness at BCL Business TV. And one of the best places to go if you want to get all the information and you want to watch over 400 hours of great business advice, it's all there at businessconnectionslive.com. We'd love you to join us on the website. If you'd like to be on the program as well, we can tell you how to do that too. Just go to businessconnectionslive.com. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. My guest on today's show is Emma Taring. We're looking at the opportunities that are out there at the moment for you perhaps to leave corporate life. This is the plans that you need for your escape attempt so that you could maybe set up your own consultancy. And my setting up your own consultancy is going to be such a great idea for many people. Actually, when you talk to people, and I know I keep coming back to it, do you think there's a particular kind of character, a character trait that you come across regularly and you go, yep, you're going to be all right. You've got the right personality. You've got the right kind of outlook on life to be doing this. And there are others. And I know you said that you're not negative to people. You will encourage them and give them buckets of encouragement. But there are other people where you go, no, this isn't right for you.
Yeah, I've yet to meet anyone that I think, oh, you couldn't run a business, because I think if you've got the right, things in your armory, then I think you can. You just need to acknowledge what you're good at and which bits are going to be more challenging for you. So no, I've heard of business concepts that I've doubted. Partly what we were saying earlier, that you sort of look around and you think, I can't see anybody who's doing that at all, and why is that? And who's going to buy it? And you get them to sort of test that in the market. But I don't think
so
there's
give
a
us
person
an example.
who can't.
Can you? Am I
No, that
allowed
would
to
be
ask?
mean.
I know, but just in case there's somebody watching this today that's thinking, "Oh, I could do that." I think sheep shaving in central London may be a really good business. What do you think?
Who knows? Who knows? It's not a consultancy, so we might not be able to help with that particularly. I'm sure there are specialists in sheep shaving websites.
Which isn't easy to say, actually,
Exactly.
is it?
It was risky, wasn't it? No, I mean it's a case of if you follow the process, then you're going to be able to design a business that works. There are some people that it becomes quite clear that they're not naturally people who are going to enjoy being alone. And in that case, we do say to them, is there someone you can, partner with, have association with, have some kind of reciprocity link with, that would work? So that happens. And I think anything that's not scalable is probably the biggest red flag. If you think, well, that's great, you can sell one of those for £100, but that's going to take you 4 days a week. How on earth are you going to scale a business to sell lots of those to earn enough of what you need to do? So scalability is probably the thing that would make us kind of go, you need to look at that bit again. But we help people do that as well and think how that becomes scalable.
Do you think some people come in and they just, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this, but they aim ever so slightly high. They're not perhaps realistic in what they think.
Love that. Love people who aim high. But we're also, we have one of our first sort of reality checks is doing exactly that. So you want to earn £250,000 and you sell your service for X. How many of those? It's a very simple sum. How many of those would you need to sell to make £250,000? It's about 41,000 a month actually. And is that realistic? Can you do that when it's just you and you're just selling your own time, or do you need to address this in a different way?
Is that the ambition, do you think, of many of the businesses that you talk to, that what they want to do? They want to start their own business, then they want to grow it, and then they want to sell it. So their exit plan is really, I mean, for instance, with your business, the Marketing Matrix, the danger sometimes is that, and with our business, the danger is the people are the business. So you can dress it up however you want, but take the people out of it, and the business doesn't really function or exist anymore. Is that an issue sometimes?
It can be, and again, that's where the brand. If you've got more than one person in it, and you've got a great brand, and you've got your values, and you've got really good products that are repeatable and scalable, and so on, and that actually you as the figurehead, yes, you're going to be connected with your business, but there are other people you can bring in to help with the delivery part, because that's what brings most small businesses down, isn't it? It's the delivery, it's the grind of doing the doing. It's not the thinking and the having the great ideas. So it's making sure if selling is your ultimate goal, that you know what milestones you need to reach when, and you need to know who you need to bring in to do those delivery parts of the jobs, but who will sit under your brand and have your values. So you're not diluting that.
So in that case, then, if someone comes to you, and I feel like I'm beating you with a stick at the moment, and I don't mean to be, but if someone comes to you, there are going to be people who will be doing the leadership kind of consultancy, the sales consultancy, the pricing consultancy, the marketing consultancy, the social media consultancy, and what it is, once again, it's very much them. For those kind of businesses who aren't selling a product but are selling a service, does it become slightly more difficult then does it just become a job that they put their name to, or does it become a consultancy that grows? Should their ambition be, look, if you're doing successful there, bring somebody else into the business as well, so you can grow it by the number of people that are working within it?
It's personal choice as to whether you think you want to build a team or not. Not everyone does. Again, just like some people don't like sales, some people don't particularly like people management, and they'd rather make that more on an associateship or a partnership basis than employing people. But the idea is that you've got a sort of methodology that's unique to you. You've got a way of doing business. You've got packages that you sell and that you can offer that are different from other people's. So once you've got that, then it is you're able to scale it. But as I say, you might need to be realistic and think about the delivery side as to how you're going to get support on that.
There's something that you've written here which is called recapture, which I've never come across before. And it says how to evade recapture back into the corporate world by working from a growth plan devised by marketing experts. I get the funny feeling you guys are the marketing experts.
Yes,
and what you're doing is you're helping people develop this growth plan. But what do you mean by recapture? And what do you mean by all of that? Is this effectively the big business plan that you're looking at here?
No, what we mean by recapture is it's very easy to come out of corporate, particularly if there's a natural break point, such as a redundancy or a takeover or something like that, where it's a natural point for you to leave. And then you sort of go out and you start freelancing and you think, oh, this is good. And you get, a year, 18 months, 2 years down the line. And then someone rings you up or contacts you on LinkedIn and says, I know a really good job that would just suit you. And it's a bit like your old job, maybe a notch higher and maybe, a few quid more and so on. And you kind of go, oh, I could do that instead of all this, own business thing.
Do I get a company car as well and an allowance? Yeah, you see, and I can see why that is attractive for people.
And it's, and it happened to me. I was approached literally 2 years in, and I sort of thought really seriously about, it was a great job that I was approached about. And then I thought, no, that isn't what I'm trying to do here. It would be a short-term fix. So it's giving you that confidence and that you've got your plan, so that even if you're perhaps not going quite as fast as you'd like to, because that's life, or something happens, like who could have predicted a pandemic, for goodness sake, and then someone rings you up with a tempting job. It's if your commitment is to yourself, is you want to grow a business and you want to be a business owner, then have a framework and have support that will get you through that, rather than just going, just throw it all in and throw all that I've done, I'll throw in and go back to being an employee again. Because the chances are, if you've been out for a couple of years, you're going to really struggle to get back under the.
That's right, and I think the thing is that once you've been out of the corporate world for a while, in inverted commas, the relative freedom of working within your own environment actually is quite something, isn't it? It's a very nice place to be. Ms. Bazant's back again. If you are a business that trades as an individual, you also need to think about who your clients can contact when you go on holiday or off sick, and there is that as well. There are many times. So do you have then that checklist? What would be the top 4 things that you would say that somebody should consider when they're looking at this then? And I know I'm going to ask you for your summary at the end, but I'm kind of looking for this pathway at the moment. What would it be, do you think?
Well, it's having that relationship with your client where you say, I am on holiday for 2 weeks in August. I've done all the work that needs to be done. I'm potentially contactable in a dire emergency. Or there's somebody who's been helping me out who they might already know, so they're very clear on that. So it's all about this framework, really. It's just thinking about all that stuff before you just kind of charge out of the blocks. And I think that's the sort of thing that people tend to do very quickly, and go, right, I'm just going to start doing business now. And why we say it's great if you can spend some time building and designing your business and the way you're going to do business and how you're going to deal with all the delivery side before you go, ta-da, here's my business, I'm launching, rather than launching first and then going, oh, crikey, what do I do in those situations? It's doing it the other way around instead of
it's very interesting you say that about working with your clients. When I in 2012, I wasn't particularly well. And in fact, our major client actually was building their diary around my treatment, which was, in fact, they probably knew more about my diary and what was going on in far too much intimate detail, but they knew too much. But what they were doing, they worked around my illness, to make sure. And I suppose that's the kind of relationship that you want to have, an ongoing relationship with your clients. When they do come to you and they're saying, look, I'm going to be leaving the corporate world, what about expectations on the amount of time it takes or the speed that they can get, from zero to hero? Are they sometimes thinking to themselves it'll be a lot quicker than actually in reality, from your experience, it actually will be?
Yes. And again, our job isn't to pour cold water on things, but it is to be reality check completely. So you need to know that you are financially able to have a buffer for those first few months, because even if you get your first contract just after you've launched, it takes people a little while to pay. It might be a little gap till you get the second contract or the second relationship. So you've got to not be living hand to mouth. You've got to put those contingencies in place before you leave. That's just reality. But there's no reason why you shouldn't start billing, very soon after launching your company, if you've done that pre-planning before the launch.
We've got a little piece from Mark Peacock in just a moment, who calls himself the pricing expert, and he really is. He really knows his onions when it comes to the best way to price things. So we've got Mark in just a few moments. Is that a bit of an issue for people? Do they not understand their own worth, the value of actually what they're offering? And because they've had the expertise or the training, they find it quite simple to deliver what for somebody else, for a mere mortal, may indeed be a very, very difficult answer to a question. Is that an issue when people come to pricing their own value?
Yes, it can be completely. That they, and again, a lot of people, particularly in professional services, are wedded to, I know what my day rate was in corporate, and I'm not expecting to quite charge that out there. But we try and encourage people to come away from day rates and talk more about a complete value package. And sometimes the value part is things that they completely underestimate, and then the sort of delivery part is what they think is worth the buckets of money. But actually, it's almost the other way around. So we do look at all those things, and we encourage people to do a lot of looking at your competitors and people that you wouldn't have thought of as being your competitors. Is broadening your mind and thinking in your clients' viewpoints of like, who are your competitors, and it might not be the obvious ones.
Yeah, but how interesting to it's a mindset that people get into. What is your day rate? And I suppose if you have a day rate, then you can work out how much you need, and it's a multiple of a day rate, in the same way as if you're selling you're not selling a service, but you're selling a product. You know how many particular items you have to sell for you to make a profit, or to at least be comfortable.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's the same mentality that's going on when you're providing a service. That must be a very difficult conversation to have with people sometimes, because they will not feel their own personal worth, will they?
No, or well, both extremes, that they either underestimate it or overestimate it. So it's finding that middle ground and finding reality, really. And a value ladder is obviously key, so that when you start working with a client, how can they find out about working with you first of all, and then they're not going to come and say, right, I'm going to sign up with you for 7 years forever. To on a retainer. That doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
To build it.
Mind you, occasionally you will get a corporate client who will stick with you. I had one corporate client stick with me for 20 years.
We've got both our founding clients still with us.
And I think that's it shows that it's people to people then, isn't it? And they feel comfortable with you, you're comfortable with them.
Never complacent, ever.
Because if they go away, then you could be in the mire.
Well, it's a partnership now. It's a very close relationship.
All right, we were talking about Mark Peacock. He's a lovely bloke, so we may as well hear what Mark has got to say. Mark Peacock was on the program a couple of years ago. He is the pricing expert. What's interesting about Mark is that Mark understands exactly the dilemma that you're going to find yourself in when it comes to how you price your service, and also the different ways that you can present what your pricing, your your value to your client as well. And I think that's an important skill to actually have. Here's the key takeaways from the program. If I was giving you a little piece of advice, I would say watch Mark's program in full. Go to the website. You'll find a link at Business Connections Live on the page where this program is, along with the download that you can get from the Marketing Matrix as well. And the link on that particular page will take you to Mark's complete program. It is an hour of very, very good and useful information when it comes to how to price what the services, the items, and the products that you have, how to price yourself and to feel comfortable about doing it. But here are the key takeaways from the program.
Thank you, Steve. So yeah, I'm Mark Peacock and I'm the pricing coach. What I've tried to explain to you today is that pricing doesn't have to be difficult or scary. There are loads of different ways that you can think about how you price your business and your products and your services. As Warren Buffett says, pricing is the most important part of your business in terms of adding value and creating higher earnings for you. I have 50 different pricing strategies that I use. You can see that there are plenty of different ways that you could price your business and your services. And then finally, I would say if you put price at the center of your business planning and your design thinking, it will put you in a much stronger position for delivering better value for your customers and improving your profits. So if you want to know more, please go to my website, which is markpeacock.co.uk. And also on there, I'm offering a free pricing diagnostic self-assessment. So there's a form you can download and work out for yourself how good your pricing is. So please feel free to contact me via my website, and I look forward to talking to you further soon. Thank you.
Fantastic advice from that particular program. What's your feelings about that, Emma, to put your pricing as centre stage when it comes to working it out? I suppose we're in business. That's what this is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also thinking about the profit, not just the price. So if you have to buy in services to be able to deliver a service, what's that going to cost you? How's that going to erode your margin? It's not, the old things about turnover versus profit. You do need to be thinking about the profitability, and the sustainability is, can you keep doing it? Are there enough hours in the day for you to do that thing that you want to do?
I'm just wondering, is there one thing you do find yourself saying on a regular basis to people that when you're talking to them, they come in, they're in their corporate life, they're in their corporate world, they say they want to escape, they tick all the appropriate boxes. What is the one thing that you find, both you and Anive, find yourself saying to them?
I think it is finding that thing that you can do that is unique within your sphere. Find that thing that's unique. And customers often fight us, or clients fight us on that they go, oh, well, I don't want to specialise because I might miss out on the other stuff. But actually, it's your marketing strategy is to be the specialist in your sphere. It doesn't mean that you can't take on other business. That might well come along, but you've got finite resources for marketing your business. So be the expert in that.
That's really interesting, because I think we did a program, the money is in the niche, isn't it? And I suppose we all have numerous skills, and that's what we want to promote. We want to promote the fact that, yes, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this and this and this. And in fact, the people that seem to be the most successful are the people that will turn around and go, actually, what I do is this. And then they concentrate on that. And then the other work seems to naturally come in once they've made that impact into or made that association with the individuals.
No, absolutely. No, I think that's right.
Is that something?
Like Piccadilly Circus here today.
It is really, honestly. And how entertaining to have a doorbell that barks. That's what I like as well. Listen, we're rapidly approaching. Yeah, well, do you know what? They do say that, but we are rapidly approaching the end of the programme, which has been absolutely fantastic. I'm just bringing up here the website. If people want to find out more about you before you give the key takeaways from the programme today, the website, once again, carries a lot of information on there as well. These are the Surrey parakeets, aren't they?
Yes.
Because all of us just live listening to these
It is
things
live.
squawking all the time. So are you a corporate escape artist? Create and grow your own business and unlock your potential. If they go to your website, what kind of things can they find out about? And what kind of things do you run for your customers?
So you can find out lots about what we do. At the moment, we're not running our start marketing meetings, sadly, because obviously meetings aren't feasible. But definitely get in touch and have a chat with us. And one of the things we are passionate, your favourite word, Steve, about is putting people in contact with each other and finding great synergies between clients. So that's something we really enjoy.
Do you think networking is becoming increasingly more important because of COVID-19 at the moment?
Yes, definitely. And bizarrely, I think in the early days, I went round all sorts of different networks, very remote, but I've ended up coming back to my local ones, because to be able to say to someone, where our office is, or, where do you walk your dog, or something like that, there's that much more of a connection in your local area, I think.
You're a big fan of BNI, aren't you? You find that quite useful. Is that something that we need to consider when we're looking at the networking group that we're going to, the profile of the group, how it matches with the kind of people that we're looking for? Because not all networking organizations have the same kind of people within them. And I suppose when you're leaving corporate life, it's very difficult to know which is going to be right for the kind of products or services that you're offering.
Yes, absolutely. And you do have to road test quite a few to find the one that suits you. And you also have to be really harsh with yourself, because sometimes you'll find the loveliest group of people and you think, I'd really like to see these people every week, every month, whatever it is. But then you realise after a while you're not actually getting business out of it. So you've got to be hard nosed. And it isn't just a case of finding a lovely tribe. That's very nice, but who has time just to do that? And you've got your friends to do that. So it's that blend of people that you can build relationships with. You've got synergies, you've got things in common, but that it actually delivers you business and good quality referrals, not just any old ones.
And the final question before the dog takes over the show is...
He'll do the wrap up.
Yeah, he knows. He's just getting hungry. That's what it is. When it comes to social networks, can you build a business using the likes of LinkedIn, Facebook, or does it need more than that? Do you have to be very proactive at those different platforms to generate and create business from them?
Yes, you do. You do need to be active. Again, we normally recommend that you focus on one or two, and the whole point is knowing where your clients are. So it isn't your favourite one. You might love Facebook, but if your clients aren't there, then there's no point in using that as your network. You need to work out where your clients are going to be, or your ideal clients, the ones you really want to work with, and then make that your channel. But you have to speak to people as well. You can't just hide behind social media.
And I think a lot of people think that they can hide behind social media. It's been a wonderful insight. There's going to be a lot of people, I think, during the lockdown who are going to be thinking to themselves, I'd really like to move away from where I am at the moment. I would like to start my own business. I'd like to grow my own business. And I think coming to you guys and chatting it through with you seems to be the most ideal and sensible thing to do prior to taking that leap. I always ask my guests for the key takeaways from the program. Airwaves are all yours. If you don't mind, just say who you are and where you're from. And don't forget to tell us how we can contact you at the end. But it really is a summary of the things that we've talked about in the past hour. Emma Tarring, please take it away.
Hi, I'm Emma Tarring from the Marketing Matrix, and we help corporate escape artists to create and grow their own consultancy businesses. What we provide is the structure that you need to get that business going. We give you a really realistic step-by-step framework to help you build your marketing strategy and go out there and attract those perfect clients that you love working with, who pay you good money and who really appreciate the services that you offer. So we'd love to talk to you. If you're just at the stage of thinking about whether you might leave corporate, it's the perfect time to have a no obligation chat with us. You can email us at hello@themarketingmatrix.co.uk. Go across to our website, themarketingmatrix.co.uk/escape, or give us a bell, 0208 353 86588. Thank you very much.
Absolutely beautifully done. And just a reminder once again of the website, just go along to the marketing matrix. And if you see the two birds, one pecking each other's ears, then you'll know you're in the right place. But it's a good site. There's lots of good advice on there as well. And then give Emma and Eve a quick telephone call as well and find out how they can perhaps maybe help you and your business to grow and to flourish. And, you know, the very best of luck. It's a big decision to be making, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Really is.
Yes, yeah, but very rewarding.
Very rewarding. If you had it to do again, I know without any hesitation, I was forced into it. I think I was working in the corporate world. I was doing a bit of broadcasting on the side, and the corporate world was slowly grinding to a halt, and I had to make the decision to go one way or the other. In fact, what I did, I started my own small marketing consultancy, which was great fun, and it brought the money in, but it was very much hand to mouth in those particular days. And then, of course, the broadcasting side of the career took off. If I would not have changed a thing, actually. I think it's the most rewarding thing. And a lot of people say, don't you worry about it. And of course, I suppose no matter what job you're in, you're only a couple of weeks away from being got rid of anyway, aren't you? So that security is gone.
No, of course not. It doesn't matter what you do. You've got to put your heart and soul into it, whether that's a job or your own business.
Have you ever regretted it?
What, leaving corporate? Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
No, I loved my corporate. I loved where I worked, and I had the most awesome team, and I learnt so much. But I was very ready to come out as well.
Excellent.
So, no, never look back.
Never look back. Never give up. Never surrender. Listen, it's been an absolutely fantastic, it's been a joy having you on the programme. Thank you ever so much indeed. If you'd like to be on the programme as well, like Emma, then please do get in touch with us here at Business Connections Live. You can drop us an email, of course, if you wish. Come back to me. There we go. You drop us an email if you wish, or if you want to as well, you can always pick the phone up and give us a call on 01784 256 777. But from myself, Steve Hyland, and also from Emma Tarring at the Marketing Matrix, thank you very much for watching today's program. Emma, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Steve.
And
Awesome
we'll be doing it all again next week. We look forward to your company. You're going to be live at midday. But until then, be careful out there. Just remember that nothing actually very much has changed. The only thing that has changed is that a few months have gone by. There's no cure. We've all got to do the social distancing. We've all got to do the right things for the people that we share the community with. But until next week, stay alert, look after yourselves, and stay well. From me, Steve Hyland, and Emma Tarring, it's bye for now. Bye-bye.
Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel.